Lady Olenna Tyrell, known across Westeros as the Queen of Thorns, was one of the most cunning and perceptive minds in Game of Thrones. She was sharp-tongued, brutally honest, and utterly fearless in a world dominated by men. Her intelligence and foresight made her one of the most respected and dangerous players in the political game. But her greatest and most shocking act, poisoning King Joffrey Baratheon at his own wedding, was not an impulsive moment of revenge. It was the culmination of calculation, necessity, and love. Every thorn she placed was deliberate, every move was survival. The first and most obvious reason Olenna killed Joffrey was simple: he was a monster. Few characters in Westeros inspired such universal hatred. Joffrey was sadistic, cruel, and reckless, traits that made him not just a terrible king, but a genuine threat to everyone around him. He humiliated Sansa, executed Ned Stark, and ruled through fear and impulsive violence. Olenna saw him for what he was, an uncontrollable child with a crown. When her granddaughter Margaery Tyrell was betrothed to him, Olenna's instincts flared with alarm. She was a woman who built her power on reason, alliances, and subtlety. Joffrey was chaos incarnate, and chaos could not be reasoned with. Olenna's entire life had been about protecting her family. She understood that power in Westeros wasn't about armies or dragons, it was about survival through reputation, marriage, and perception. Margaery was the jewel of House Tyrell, the political bridge to the Iron Throne, and Olenna's legacy. Allowing Margaery to marry Joffrey meant handing her beloved granddaughter over to a boy who took pleasure in cruelty. Olenna could not let that happen. To her, Joffrey wasn't just a bad match, he was a death sentence. She saw what he did to Sansa Stark, the way he enjoyed tormenting her, and she knew that sooner or later, he would do the same to Margaery. But there was more to it than just family love. Olenna was also a realist. The Tyrells had hitched their fortunes to the Lannisters, but she understood that alliances with lions came with risk. Joffrey's cruelty didn't just endanger Margaery, it endangered the entire alliance. A king who murdered for pleasure could drag everyone around him into ruin. Olenna knew that the Lannisters were losing control of their own bloodline. Tywin was aging, Cersei was unstable, and Joffrey's reign threatened to ignite rebellion across Westeros. If the realm fell into chaos, the Tyrells would lose everything they had worked for. Killing Joffrey wasn't only an act of protection, it was an act of preservation. She also recognized that killing Joffrey would serve a political purpose. His younger brother, Tommen, was mild, kind, and easily influenced. To Olenna, he represented a chance to place Margaery beside a man who could be shaped into a true king. She could guide Tommen through Margaery's charm and diplomacy, creating a peaceful and stable union that would secure the Tyrells' place at the top. Olenna didn't just want her granddaughter to be queen, she wanted her to stay queen. In Joffrey's court, survival was measured in moments. In Tommen's, it could last for generations. The timing of the assassination, Joffrey's wedding, was no accident either. Olenna understood theater. She knew that a public death would shake the realm, but not necessarily point fingers at her family. The wedding was the perfect distraction. Case, wine, laughter, and hundreds of witnesses. Everyone had motive, everyone had opportunity. And Joffrey's death by poison rather than blade ensured no Tyrell army or hand would ever be tied to the murder. It was a silent, elegant solution to an impossible problem. Her methods reflected her mastery of subtlety. Working with Peter Baelish, she orchestrated the plan with surgical precision. The poison was hidden inside a small jewel on Sansa's necklace, a detail so minor it escaped suspicion. Olenna casually plucked one of the stones from Sansa's chain during the feast, her hand steady as if adjusting her shawl. When she later dropped it into Joffrey's wine, it was an act of perfect composure. There were no dramatic speeches, no hesitation, just the quiet efficiency of a woman doing what needed to be done. But perhaps the most overlooked reason Olenna killed Joffrey was power itself. Olenna knew that in the world of men, women rarely got to shape history through open warfare. Her power lay in conversation, persuasion, and poison. In that moment, she proved that a woman could end a tyrant's rule without a single sword drawn. It was her way of reclaiming control in a system built to deny her any. When she killed Joffrey, she wasn't just saving her family, she was making a statement. the Queen of Thorns would not be ruled by fools. It is also worth noting how much Olenna understood the nature of evil in Westeros. She was not naive. She knew that almost every noble family had blood on their hands. The Starks, the Lannisters, the Baratheons, all of them were guilty of cruelty or betrayal in some form. Olenna's difference was that she never pretended to be righteous. She didn't act out of divine purpose or revenge. She acted because she saw no other choice. In her own words, wars are won by men, but the rest of us must pick up the pieces. Killing Joffrey was her way of cleaning up a mess the men around her had created. Her acts also demonstrated how far she was willing to go to secure peace. While many fans saw the poisoning as ruthless, it was also deeply strategic. Olenna likely believed that removing Joffrey would prevent far greater bloodshed later. Imagine what Joffrey's rule might have become. Endless executions, civil unrest, and foreign wars. By killing one, Olenna may have saved thousands. In a twisted way, her assassination was an act of mercy for the realm and for Margaery. When we look at her confession in her final scene with Jaime Lannister, we see just how calculated her decision was. As she sipped her poisoned wine, she revealed the truth with pride, not regret. "Tell Cersei, I want her to know it was me." That line defined Olenna's character. She didn't kill Joffrey out of fear, she killed him out of strength. Her confession wasn't a plea for forgiveness, it was a declaration of victory. She had beaten the Lannisters at their own game. Even in death, she wanted Cersei to feel powerless. In the end, Olenna's assassination of Joffrey wasn't just one of the most satisfying moments in Game of Thrones, it was one of the most logical. It was driven by love, politics, foresight, and sheer survival instinct. She saw the truth of power more clearly than anyone else. Kings could be crowned and killed in a heartbeat, but influence, real influence, belonged to those who dared to act when others hesitated. Lady Olenna's decision was both pragmatic and poetic. She rid the realm of its cruelest ruler, secured her family's position, and gave her granddaughter a chance at true happiness. It was an act of rebellion by a woman who refused to let her fate be dictated by madmen and monarchs. She played the game to win, and when the time came to strike, she did so with elegance and precision. When Joffrey choked and turned purple before the eyes of the court, it was the first time in the series that justice felt truly delivered. Not by gods or prophecies, but by human will. The will of a grandmother who loved too fiercely and understood too well that sometimes mercy wears the face of poison. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace.